Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another stream, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about today's games and give tomorrow's games a cheeky little preview. Big up to all of you guys. Please do slap the like button on your way in. Do subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. It's colder in Jordan than it is in Leeds. I am not built for this weather, mate. Anyway, every single one of you, like the video on your way in, subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. Keep getting involved in chat, keep letting us know your opinions. We have a lot to unpack. Manchester City lost again. Arsenal won a game of football convincingly. No set pieces, nothing. Chelsea, title favorites, take on Everton tomorrow. And the underdogs, Liverpool, take on Tottenham Hotspur in tomorrow at the new White Hart Lane. Anyway, joining me first and foremost, making his return after his head loss at halftime, representing Arsenal Football Club, TKA is in the building. How are you doing, TKA, mate?
Big up. Thank you for having me. Was that a head loss? I thought I was pretty calm there. You know what I'm saying? I was a little bit sad because of the injury, but I was pretty calm. But anyway, I'm here to represent a big win, great performance, some saddening injury, but we're still here, man. And big up the panel at backstage as well. So yeah,
big up. You're in the big leagues now, no longer halftime show. Joining us next on the channel, you get me, also Arsenal fan. Been busy giving Hollywood, Bollywood, Nollywood, Middle Eastern, drama, Turkish drama speeches on the football terrace. Let me play you today's speech before I introduce you. Let me play you today's speech. This is the Gunnar Sulz speech of today.
Here we go. Aye, the chase is on. The chase is on. Liverpool, you little firebirds. The lion has awoken. We're coming. We're coming for you guys. You think 9 points is hard to overturn? You thought the season was over. You thought you'd had it wrapped up. It's only Christmas, and there's miracles yet to be had. Jesus himself has awoken. He has risen. And you know what? Gahey himself said, I love Jesus, and let him score 5 goals. And that's...
I have no more words to say. Sulz is in the building. Hi, Sulz. How you doing, brother?
Let's go. I'm telling you, man, the chase is on. That's all I'll say.
You said enough on the terrace to be. Big up, man. Joining us next to get me, Chelsea fan representative here to represent the Meerkats in style. He actually does believe his team is in a title race at least. You know, that's why I give him respect. He's not doing this. Oh, we're not in a title race. We're just a chill guy. No. He's saying we are in the title race. Andy, here to surf in the winter. How you doing, Habibi?
We're not title favourites, so don't even try that with me, okay? Don't even try that when you're underdogs.
I agree. Arsenal are favourite.
No, that's fine, but don't you try and put me as title. Don't even try and say title favourites to me. All right. This is a strange alliance as it is. Don't make it more strange. All right. But I'm all good. Everyone like and share the video, please, because Sam and I have had a stress-free football day. Do you know what I mean?
I had a bit of stress with the Arsenal game. This is the first watch-along I ended early since Man United Fulham, bro.
Really? Oh,
yeah, bro. I haven't ended a stream early since that time, but hey, it is what it is. Joining us,
Barcelona lost as well today, so they can hold that.
No one cares about Barcelona. Joining us next on the channel, you get me. His voice is gone from the City performance. The City have actually physically made him sick. You get me. But I love working with this guy. He's my favorite ginger fraud. Doesn't gaslight like LB. Nobbins is in the building. Hi, Nobbins.
Hello.
You thought I was joking when I said his voice is gone? His voice actually is gone, mate.
I'm ill. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not putting it on. I'm
gone.
just ill, and yet I'm still here because I'm such a nice guy.
100%. You stuck to your word. We respect that.
I just did a 3.5-hour show without speaking non-stop, watching City be absolute wank, and now I'm here. So, absolute trooper.
That's the beauty of YouTube right there. And last but not least, Mank born and bred, been supporting Manchester City since 1954. Joining us on the channel is the man himself, Martin is in the building. How are you doing, Martin, man?
Yeah, Another day, same shit. What do you do? What do you do?
Big up, Martin. Welcome to the stream. Listen, big up to all of you guys. There's 200 people in here already. We ain't even started the stream yet. Every single one of you. I don't want to keep. Look, Nobbins is here with while being ill. Martin is here in his car. Have some shame and some decorum and hit the like button right now and subscribe to the channel, you bunch of frauds.
Nino called Nobbins Nobbins. He called Nobbins.
Nobbins. Not
No, he called him
Nobbins.
Nobbins. He called him Nobbins.
Oh, my bad.
But Nino, that's cruel, man.
That is such a bad. That is okay. Okay. Speaking of Nobbins, we are going to start off with Manchester City. We start off with Nobbins, obviously, because his voice is gone. So we let him kind of have an open floor to just talk as his voice recovers in the background. Talk to me, brother. What's actually going on at this point? It can't. Surely it's not just Rodri.
We all know what's going wrong at City. There's nothing different. It hasn't changed since last week or the week before or the week before that. It's the same issues every single game. There's issues all over the pitch, but the main issue starts in midfield. That's partly a squad building issue. It's also partly informed by injuries. Again, I'm repeating myself because I've said this a lot, but there is no physicality, there is no athleticism, there is no second ball winning, there's no duel winning. So that's an issue in the midfield. That gives us no platform to win games, essentially. That means that also impacts the defence because the defence isn't protected well enough. Separate issue with the defence is that one injury compounds another injury, compounds another injury. So we saw that today, for example. Stones and Akanji came back, and ideally they would be on the bench and maybe give them a few minutes, but Diaz got injured, so one of them had to start at least. Stones lasted a powerful 45 minutes before getting injured again. So that now means that Ake is going to have to be rushed back into the side. He's only just come back from injury, so it's only a matter of time before he gets injured. And then Diaz will come back and he'll have to get rushed back into the side and he'll get injured. And so the cycle continues. So that's the individual defensive situation. And then there's also an issue in terms of attacking because our players are basically scared to attack because they know that if we lose the ball, then there's a very good chance that the opposition will just counterattack on us and play right through our midfield. And that's what happens over and over again. Doesn't matter where we lose the ball. Our opposition knows that we are very frail and very easy to play through because, as I outlined earlier, there is no midfield presence. So that means that our attackers are scared to pass forwards because they know that if we lose the ball, then we're probably going to lose a goal. So there are lots of issues, and then all of that compounds, and it leads to a situation where players who are not used to losing game after game after game are now mentally fatigued. They're exhausted from a physical perspective and a mental perspective, and there's a mental frailty in the team now, with players you wouldn't normally associate with that. But I think anyone would be mentally frail if you've won 1 in 13 now or something ridiculous. So that's the issue. We are not very good going forwards, but the worst situation is defensively. I think we conceded close to 30 goals in this terrible run. It was another 5 big chances conceded today. That's just the norm nowadays. And it's not as simple as one player needs to step up and take the game by the scruff of the neck. That's not helpful analysis. That isn't analysis. This isn't even a Kyle Walker issue, and he's our worst player. It's not as simple as don't play Walker. We also saw the Feyenoord capitulation. Walker didn't touch the pitch that game. It's more than just one player. It's nearly every single player. And it's because of all those multifaceted issues that I've just outlined. So yeah, in answer to your question, what's wrong with City? Basically everything.
Okay, I was literally about to head over to Martin to end on the sentence you just said. The way that you're describing it, it seems like literally everything is wrong at this point. Like there is that's literally what he just described, by the way. Martin, talk to me about your club before we open the floor up. Sulz, TK, Andrew, this isn't your first time here. You know how we do it, open floor settings. But we're going to let Martin speak.
There's no for me to add. No, it's Nobbins is spot on. This seems, I'm sick of hearing it's a Rodri problem. This is a lot bigger. It's an everything issue, like you said. You're getting The best tweet I saw today from a City fan was Nathan Ake rolled out of A&E and went straight onto the City bench. And it's true. He literally rolls out of A&E, goes onto the bench, had no business being on the bench. John Stones literally had not trained, I believe, and wound himself up on the bench. You've got a Kanja who has not been 100% fit for about 3 months, gets a suspected dislocated shoulder, carries on. I'm like, this is like, well, where are we going with it? It's crazy now, the situation. And people are saying about playing youngsters. We might have to play youngsters now. We've literally got one fit centre back. Josh Golgavardi, everyone tells me, oh, play him into midfield. I've seen better tackles on the end of a fishing rod at the minute. Wonder what's happened to Josh Golgavardi. The guy's just absolutely stopped everything.
That's because he's playing every game, Martin. He's not had a rest. That's
I know that things, but he can tackle at least. He's not even doing the fundamentals right at the minute.
I think it's because he's mentally exhausted. I think that's the issue. Like the lapses are not like him.
But I think that's also a bit of a cop out at the minute for him. I think he's one of them players very much. Listen, and I'm going to be totally honest. Bernardo Silva's an insult to the shirt right now. Don't know why.
I thought it was really bad today.
By the way, I'm going to say that that's not me being reactionary. Been like that since game week one. His attitude's been poor. I do not know why. I don't get it. I don't understand why with it. I agree with Nobbins. They are playing a lot. He's one of them who's playing every other game. But you've got Savio on the bench. You don't have to play him on the right wing. You can. I get why he's doing it for his running, but he's not doing that. He's not even doing that anymore. So if he's tired, rest him, put Savio on. I don't know. I'm at a point where I know what he's trying to do. There's not been puts it. He's gone back to let's do this little diamond in midfield, but the trouble is, it ain't going to work with the midfielders you've got. It isn't going to work for me. It really isn't at the moment. Erling Haaland, it's great coming out with, I'm not doing enough. I agree. You know, I've seen some people have said today that some of the players are giving up and they're not trying anymore. I don't fully believe that, because if they're not trying, they would shirk injuries, some of them, and they wouldn't get on the pitch. You know, they would say, I'm injured, don't play. You know, somebody else who's really peeing me off at the minute, and again, because I've heard some inside it, is KDB at the minute. Again, he's sold Pep today. Yesterday, he was in the 11. Today, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with KDB anymore. I don't know. I'm absolutely baffled. We've got situations with Edison now. It's like Nobbins said, this is not just a Rodri issue. This is an attitude with 1 or 2, well, 3 or 4. This is, have they given up? Have they won everything? Pep's scratching his head because he doesn't know what to do. And by the way, I don't even think going and getting 1 or 2 plays in January helps this anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at January as this. I'm sick of saying January is this safe zone that we buy 2 players and we suddenly need to go. We need more than just probably the 1 or 2 we're going to get in Jan. And I'm probably being pretty harsh now, but it is what it is. I sort of told you weeks ago we were out the title race. Thought we were, because I said on here a month ago this was going to get worse before it got a lot better.
Yeah, he did say that. He said it's going to get a lot worse.
We are Liverpool from 18 months, 2 years ago. We need a complete rebuild in that midfield. Complete rebuild.
I think the issue is that I see some like similar traits in both clubs from us 2 years ago. Like even where you feel like certain players aren't even trying anymore. But I feel like, you know, one of the things as well with City is you need a little bit of freshening up. Now, the difference between us and you is, look, the reason why we capitulated that way that season is we had a series, and I mean series of bad transfer windows. Like when we won the Champions League, we signed Harvey Elliott, Sepp van den Berg, and Adrian. We ended up winning the league the year after, but we didn't win the league because any of those players. We won the league because we had Mo, because we had Mane, because we had Virgil. You know, we had those unbelievable players, and we ended up winning the league. But the one happened after is we didn't invest after, or the year after, or the year after. And then I feel like it comes to the stage where, you know, the players are reporting for preseason, looking at the faces, and they're like, this is the same exact faces I saw last year. Like, there's no different changes. There is no someone to freshen it up a little bit. There is no someone to give us a spark a little bit. Now, the issue with City is they did sign that little bit of a spark player in Savio, who was in the La Liga team of the season. So he's not like you signed a scrub. You brought Gundogan back, which lifted up, you know, the morale of certain City fans, possibly some players. But you look at the team right now, and this can't be a Rodri issue anymore. Look, Rodri being out does not mean you lose like 9 out of 12 or win 1 in 12 or whatever. That cannot be the effects of just one player. This is a compilation of things all going wrong at the same time, in my opinion. But guys, TKA, Sulz, and Andrew, what do you make of this whole City situation right now? Where are you with it from the outside looking in?
I think it's quite simple. Pep not signing a contract and not committing his future has halted everything City can do. When you look at their transfer plans, like, what do you really plan for? And I know, like, people are going to come back with, actually, you know, we're a well-oiled machine. We know what we're going to do. We've got these, like, you know, 5-year plans. And if Pep was to leave, we've got a manager lined up, all of that. But what do the players who want to come into City think as well? You know, they're coming in and Pep's, you know, in his final year, not committing, not really signing a contract. How do you get these big players in? Now, I'm not saying Man City don't have pull, but Pep is a big reason why certain players will join. You know, like a Zubimendi won't just join anyone. Like, we've seen it, you know, the amount of clubs this guy's turning down just to stay at Sociedad, but now his heads might be turning. It's a bit of a, you know, Pep does have that kind of pull over certain regions and certain players, and people do want to be coached under him. Now, if they come in and in 6 months' time, into a year time, or after this season, they no longer know what manager they're committing to, that manager could come in and say, actually, you don't have a future because I don't like you as a player, or I don't like your style and it doesn't fit my system. That player is going to come in knowing that he's got a season and then he has to think about his future. Not everyone wants to commit to that. But if Pep Guardiola had just signed that 2-year deal, a lot more players would be like, okay, do you know what? If anything, I've got another 2 seasons, 3 seasons under Pep. And that's, you know, goes to the club side as well. If the CEOs, and I get it, like, you know, you should plan beyond the manager and you should plan for a philosophy and bring a manager who suits that system, you know, similar to what Liverpool did, where, you know, Slot can make this team work without us having to overhaul the squad. You know, yes, City will be doing something similar. And I'm sure they planned that as well. But at the same time, they don't know what's going on either. So do they heavily invest into a squad that will no longer be needed? Or do they hold off and go, do you know what? He's saying he can make this squad work. And obviously, Rodri had a freak of an injury that he's not had in his career. But at the same time, he didn't play the first 4, 5, or 6 games. Kovacic did. And guess what? You weren't struggling then. And a lot of fans, yes, some people were calling out City and saying, actually, as much as we're winning, we don't look good. But a lot of their fans weren't saying that the man of the match performances from Kovacic, a lot of them were riding that wave. And I'm not saying it's the 2 on the panel here, but I'm talking generalities of like how the fan base were feeling. Even without Rodri, we're winning. See, this is why we're going to win the league. And this is what catches up to you. Eventually, these things start to happen where the stubbornness of Pep, the intensity that Pep wants you to play at, and he manages at, do get to players. It's not about whether he's lost the dressing room. In my opinion, there might be an element of that where his intensity is too much for people to keep going, and that refresh needed to happen to kind of keep that intensity in line. You know, because we've all been there where we've had a manager, you know, he wants the best for everyone, but it's a bit intense. It's like flipping out, like just chill out for a bit. Like, Jesus, like we'll get there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, eventually trust us to do our jobs. We've had that where they micromanage everything, and eventually it kind of gets to you. Yes, you're winning. Yes, you're in this good feel, but eventually it kind of drains you because you're like, I don't even know who I've become as a player, as like a person. I don't even know. I don't recognize myself, and that can also catch up. And look, I am making a lot of speculations. I don't know City inside out like a lot of the City fans, and I could just be chatting absolute shit. But that's if I'm looking outside in, these are the sort of things because we've seen it. Pep goes into clubs, stays there for about 5 seasons. This is the longest stint he's had. And maybe that's the reason why it's his longest stint, because this was inevitably about to happen.
He has never lived through this. This is true. This is his longest stint at a club. So maybe he just never got to the stage where he needed to answer any of those questions, or he needed to, rebuild multiple times to this level, or maybe let go of certain players that he has loyalties towards. I don't know. This is the first time we've seen him stick around at the club for so. He joined Man City when? He joined Man City in 2016. It's now 2024. It's been 8 years.
Yeah.
And if he extends, it's probably going to be around, 10 years? So that's a long-ass time to stay at a football club. And even specifically in modern football as well. Think about this realistically. Modern football, when's the last time you saw a manager last a long time? Like Klopp lasted a long time, yes. But maybe since the Wenger days and stuff like that, most managers, last a nice little 2 years now. That's it. So... yeah, it's definitely a massively long period of time. Big up everyone as well who joined us from Mo's channel. Like and subscribe on your way in. We do have 500 people locked in. So big up to Mo for the raid as well. Let's get the likes up. Come on, we're not even at 100 likes. So, TK, Andrew, you guys want to...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you guys are invited to the stream as well, by the way.
But also, we're living in... this is history of watching it, like you said. In Pep's illustrious managerial career, he has never been through anything like this in his whole career. So he's still trying to figure out what to do and how to get out of it, because he's never been through something like this. And there's a tsunami of things happening on and off the pitch, and he's trying to figure it out and trying to stem the tide. So, but the problem is, with so much football and so many fixtures, I don't think he's got enough time. And like you said, Martin said it. He's literally they're getting players off the A&E bed and into the first team or on the bench right away. They're not match fit, and they're picking up injuries again. John Stones picked up an injury again today. It's literally the walking wounded and stuff like that. And everyone, like Martin's right. Everyone's going, "Oh, get to January. We just need to get to January, and everything will be fine in January." I don't know if it'll be fine in January. Like I said, it needs to rebuild. If the rebuild is probably anywhere from 4 to 6.
I doubt City will do a whole ass rebuild in January anyway.
No, but even just in the summer, overall, you need like 4 to 6 starting players, new players in this team. And
it's not that worries me. The Nobbins will say it's getting the others out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to get people out. You got to get people to pay for the people out.
Who are getting out and where they're going to? Some of them are on long ass contracts with huge wages.
And even the ones, the wages, even if they're a shorter contract, the wages as well. People might sit there and go, "Well, won everything. I don't need to really move. I'll sit here for a year or a bit and earn this wad of cash, and I won't have to do anything." But we are witnessing history here. You know what I mean? Oh, City will sort it out and stuff like that. Pep has never. You can see it. I've never seen him. He must have drunk the equivalent of the Atlantic Ocean the past 12 games. The amount of bottled water he's drinking on the sideline. Honestly, he must be. Well, I was literally saying scratching his head, but he is. I don't mean it that way. But do you understand the old saying? It's like he's literally there going. There was a thing today's game where one of his assistants was speaking to him, and I don't know if he was even listening to his assistant. I think he was just like white noise. Do you know what I mean? He was like just staring out.
Remember when he was talking to an empty chair? Like,
it's like I don't. It's like he doesn't know. He doesn't know. It's like the old. You know when Mike Tyson? He's like Mike Tyson, and he's just been hit by Buster Douglas. He's been knocked out by Buster Douglas. And he doesn't know what to do.
I have a question for the panel, right?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Pep, right, whether it's Haaland or whether he drops Haaland for someone else, revert back to his false nine system? Like, just try something out of the ordinary. Because at the moment, like, I know what people are going to come back with. Oh, he's changed personnel. He's changed it. I'm talking just overhaul the system. Just completely, just go radical. Just make an absolute ballsy, like, oh my God, what is this guy doing move to try and fix it.
Are you talking about like change to a 3 at the back?
Yeah, like like he did when that wasn't working. He went.
But here's the thing, Sulz. I'll tell you one thing about the Pep's style of thinking, and this is something that Klopp applied, and this is something that a lot of the successful managers applied. Maybe the only anomaly, in my opinion, is Carlo Ancelotti, because he gives like a lot of players freedom and shit. Here's the thing with like the elite managers at the top level. They always have plan A, and if plan A doesn't work, then make plan A better. That's literally how they operate. I don't think Pep Guardiola is going to wake up tomorrow and go like, guys, you want to know what the solution is? Let's go play 3 at the back.
I also
No,
don't
it's
see
not gonna
how
happen.
Done that, though. Do you know with this like weird thing where John Stones kind of goes into midfield on? This is a new style of system for him. But because before, obviously, with Haaland coming in, that's a different style of system again. So he has been known to do this. But why isn't he like 1 in 11 should be like shocking the system and going, until I don't get Rodri back, or if I can't get to January, let me just be radical with the system. Let me try.
I don't know what
something
dropping Haaland's going to do though, because he's been one of our
No,
best
I'm not
players.
saying it has to be dropping Haaland. I'm just saying like whether it's dropping Haaland or like getting someone else in to do something different, or like getting a different personnel, like
Because he's never going to give up control, so
I think-
he's never going to give up that control.
But,
He's never gonna do that.
I think you're operating under the assumption that there is an in-house solution, and I don't think there is one.
Exactly.
No.
There isn't.
But have you?
If there was an
there's not
in-house
been an
solution, I
attempt
think we'd have gone there.
No, but there hasn't even been an attempt to try and fix it in-house.
But
That's
I
what-
have.
No, there is. He
But I
tried
have.
it. He changed it against United.
We
He did
we
change
have,
it against United. Was United, wasn't it, Nobbins?
No, you're
it's
talking
not
about the
changed
Forest
at all.
game at home, the one you won 3-0, where he played Grealish in midfield.
what I was going to say was that we had 4 games in a row where we had 4 different formations. So we have changed it many times this season. It worked against Forest, and people went,
four
it worked against-
formations in one game.
No, 4 formations in 4
No,
different
four
games.
straight
Four
games.
different
Four
games.
different
In a
games.
row. And it worked against Forest. Like, oh, this is great. But Forest set up to fail against us, to be honest. Like, they played very badly against us. They went man for man, and that's bread and butter to City. They played very badly. And everyone, nice. And I did a stream after saying, is this like a false dawn? I didn't want it to be. As it turned out, it was indeed a false dawn. And then Grealish played in midfield against Palace, and he looked like a lost puppy. He didn't know where to go. And I'm a big Grealish defender, but I can't defend him this season. He's
You mean
been all right.
Juventus?
Pardon?
He was on the bench against Palace when he was injured. Come on with 10 minutes ago or something.
Just to give my
Is
2
You
cents
sure?
about
Yeah,
Manchester City.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
what
because
game
remember
I'm
he said he had that. I think you're thinking of the Juve game, I think.
Is he Juve? Okay. Nice. Yeah. The other game where he played midfield, then he just looked lost.
Juve, and then he sort of kept going out drifting wide as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. So and again, so it's all well and good saying, oh, just play Grealish there, and maybe that was a solution, but that has not worked outside of one game where the opposition were set up very poorly. I would still like to see, like Nunes starting in midfield, for example, give it a go just to change something. I still would like to see that. I'd maybe like to see, Nico O'Reilly given a go. But even then, we're not talking about, even if those changes do happen, it's not going to all of a sudden make City into this all-conquering side. People saying, oh, get Pep out, Pep's doing this and that. It's like, no manager comes in and fixes the problem. The point is that this is an unfixable problem. People say, why don't you just play low block and counterattack? If anyone thinks we've got the personnel to do that, you are living in a cartoon world. We do not have the players to play low block, out of possession football. We have no steel in our midfield, and you're asking us to play defensive. We physically do not
you
have
don't
the
go that
facilities.
radical. I'm not talking that radical. I'm talking more like keeping the core of your like sort of philosophy, like the keeping control, all of this sort of, but just changing something within that. Like for example, maybe in a game, just try not having Haaland, for example, or turning Haaland into more come deep, keep control, because that's what you're missing. I don't think you've got the control that you really need in a game.
But how's Haaland dropping deep going to solve the fact our midfield's got no athleticism?
That's what I'm saying. Then drop him. If you can't do it, then drop him for someone who can. Like bring.
But how is that going to solve? How is that going to solve our midfield physicality issue?
Because then you've got another personnel who comes into midfield to help you.
But you're multiplying by 0. How does that help?
No, it's not all about physicality though. Because if you right now regain,
it is for City this season. It is for City this season.
You've had situations where you've not had that complete physicality in midfield either. But when you bring in another player into that midfield, you can then regain control, and you don't need the physicality.
You can't, because again, you're compounding by 0.
Not necessarily, no.
No, you are. I've seen it this season. We tried it against Newcastle.
When did you drop Haaland and play a false 9?
No, well, that's an irrelevant starting point because that's
what
not
I'm
going to
saying.
help the midfield.
I'd say when we did it, Watford in the cup, and we looked atrocious.
Against Newcastle, for example, we played midfielders who you would associate with pure control. We played Rico Lewis, and we played Kovacic, and we played Gundogan.
Lewis is not good though.
Right, it's irrelevant. There is no other option. Is what I'm saying. You would associate those guys as our main control-based midfielders. Did we have any control against Newcastle? No, we didn't. Because again, you're multiplying by 0. So
No,
it's
against Everton. So
I don't look at Rico Lewis and say control. That's not.
but that's who we've got. That's who we've got.
So who are you starting in City's midfield then?
Like a Gundogan, like Bernardo Silva, for example.
Well, but we've done that, and they do not give us any control.
They're not working.
Like Nunes, like I know there isn't a lot of personnel, but I haven't seen you radically change things. They're still the same core fundamental players still playing. Also,
there's also a bigger problem at Manchester City, in my opinion, because as an outsider looking in, because I don't know that much about Manchester City, but from what I've gathered at Manchester City, I feel like the world-class players, they are getting old, and there comes a time where you just need to replace your best players at a team. And I think City has finally walked into that wall, in my opinion, because let's be real. Normally, the guy that creates for Haaland, the guy that created the most for Haaland is someone like Kevin De Bruyne. But if Kevin De Bruyne is not playing, someone like Haaland is not going to play as effective. So, in my opinion, this is not as simple as, oh, let's replace guy A and guy B. No, this is the most important guy you have in your team, and he alone, if he doesn't function, your team can drop off like this. You know what I'm saying? First of all, Rodri is gone, so you need to create a whole new midfield, and your best players are not playing well. So what do? You look at the situation and you say, okay, Kevin De Bruyne a little bit more injury prone than he was in the past, and he's getting old, so he's not effective as much as he was in the past. So I feel like City need to replace their world-class players, because the reason why I say this is because I had conversations with City fans as well, and we talked about, what's the difference between City and Arsenal? Why can't we win the league against Manchester City? And the first answer I got was, well, we have world-class players compared to you. And that difference that Manchester City had over a club like Arsenal is, in my opinion, the thing that is not functioning right now. And if that's not working, then the other parts are not going to work. Because normally Pep likes to take his time with new players like Savinho, like the Dokus of the world, like he did with Foden, you know what I'm saying? And now he doesn't have the luxury to do that because his best players are not playing well. So he needs to play these guys more often and put more trust into guys like this who are still improving and still learning the system, basically. So yeah, I feel like their world-class players are just getting old, and there comes a time where you need to replace your players like you did with Yaya Toure, David Silva, Aguero. There comes a time where you need to replace Kevin De Bruyne and him as well. So that's my whole spiel about this.
That is definitely another point as well. Like, fundamentally, there is just a qualitative issue at City as well. I would suggest that City right now have like 5, nailed on in terms of, like, players going into next season anyway, like 5 nailed on stars in the team. Like, if you look at the team in the derby, for example, I would say that if you look at each individual and go, right, how many of these lads would you say are going to start in a title winning team? I reckon it was 5 or 6. So that's half the team. So that means half the team isn't going to realistically be good enough to do that, because some of them are either over the hill and, their better days are behind them, like a Gundogan, Kyle Walker, for example, or they fall into the category of, like a player like let's say a Nunes or Kovacic, where they're decent, but they are a squad option. And then the other players, you look at, players like Doku, Savio, good players, but they're 20, 21-ish. They're young. They're not ready to lock in and go. And the only players who are sort of in that mode, really, like Rodri, Diaz, Foden, Hall, and I'd say Gvardiol as well. So there is just a fundamental quality issue at City as well. And I think that what maybe the most interesting thing is that these issues that City are experiencing this season existed last season as well. Squad's actually better this season in terms of a personnel situation. You swap out Alvarez, you bring in Savio, that makes the team more balanced. You add Gundogan as an option, that's actually more balanced as a squad. The difference was last season, we had to, in order to win the title, one of our players had to win the Ballon d'Or, and then another player had to win Player of the Year whilst equaling the record for most non-penalty goals scored by a midfielder in the league. Those were the levels that the individuals had to reach in order to win the title. So the issues were here last season as well. We got away with it. We didn't address it properly in the markets. Pep felt, and indeed the boards, I think they've come out and said we were looking to as 2025 as the year for the rebuild. And it was at least 1 year too late, maybe even 2 years too late. So there's loads of issues at City. And again, to any City fans saying, "Oh, get Pep out," again, I don't know who these people want to come in. I don't know what they think is going to happen. Again,
but there are people. I'm not even taking the piss, Nobbins. You know when I'm taking the piss, when I'm being serious. There are actually people who do have that opinion. There's one of my viewers who is a City fan. Like, he supports the club. He was mocking me when we lost the league last season and everything. That he said, like, it's time for Pep to go. He fully said that.
Yeah, but he's an idiot, whoever that person is.
But how's it Pep's fault?
Like his cognitive bandwidth is restricted.
How is it Pep's fault?
Here's the thing. You know, when I was asked this question on the terrace, this was my answer. I said 65% to blame on recruitment. I gave 25% to blame on the players, and I gave 10% to blame on Pep. Pep cannot have 0% blame as well. We have to acknowledge this. It's impossible for the manager to have 0% blame. But we're talking percentages here. So if you were to ask me, is Pep to blame? My answer would be yes, but a lot less than recruitment and certain individuals. Because, like, we can give a genuine example here. The game against Manchester United, you're 1-0 up. You got 10 more minutes to play. You win this game. You go home plus 3 points. Everyone feels amazing. We just won the derby. For no reason whatsoever, 2 individual players make 2 individual errors. How's that Pep's fault? I do not know. And that, by the way, I kept the same energy. Maybe the only one here that knew me from back then is probably Andrew. I kept the same energy for Klopp. People remember this. People were Klopp out. And I used to destroy those Klopp outers because I always made them think about the bigger issues, the bigger perspective, the bigger worries in this whole situation. And I don't think it's like Pep is to blame 100% or it's Pep is at 0% fault. I think we can be balanced and say Pep for me is the least at fault because I think too many individuals are making too many individual errors. And at the same time, the recruitment for Manchester City hasn't really been that good, to be honest with you.
100%. Can I ask? Sorry, go on, Nobbins.
I was just going to say, like, in terms of like blaming Pep, the biggest like wedge of blame would be if he had any decision in terms of the summer transfer situation, because Sam Lee, a big City journalist, said that allegedly Pep was actually happy with the current squad and he didn't want to bring in any other players. Now if that is the case, then Pep absolutely has to take a lot of blame this season, because fundamentally that's what it all all roads lead to Rome, and that's what this leads to. In terms of like a tactical issue, I do agree with you, Hassam, that there's not really much that he could be doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
No. Can I just ask, this, and I don't know him, he's entitled to his opinion. Were they happy when Pep signed his extension? You know that? This is what's baffling me now. There's a lot of City fans.
You said that it's Pep's fault.
Yeah, because nobody's all this. There were City fans who were absolutely having street parties when Pep signed his 2-year deal a month ago. And now it's Pep out. And the simple fact is, like Everton, we're having to go with Simpson Pooza in defence. Young lad, he'll have to man up and go with what we can, because we're going to have nobody. Literally, like Nobbins said, Nathan Aki will come in, he'll play, he'll get injured, we'll see him again in 4 weeks. This is where we're at. It is totally on. I would agree probably with them percentages. I include Khaldoon, I include Soriano, I include Chica, I include, Pep is part of it. I think minority. I think a lot of it's on the players, but I think some are just aged out. Like you said, they've aged out. They've given every last drop they can for 4 years straight. That's why they broke every single record they possibly can. And the board have been naive, because that is exactly what Nobbins is right. They thought they could go 2025. And they couldn't. I would say it's 2 years. Probably. It's a hard one, because Nobbins, we've had this debate, haven't we, on LB show? How do you get a Rodri back up? How would you get this guy's backup? How would you get somebody else's backup? It's so hard. I think Pep's had a little bit of PTSD on some of these players going. Mahrez, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, Sterling. And there's a whole long list of it. I think Pep's got a little bit of PTSD because he's like, I can't keep having top players backing up a top player because then he has to leave. Alvarez, the example. You know, I've heard today, oh, Morgan Rogers. Listen, let's go back 3 years when Morgan Rogers was at City. Didn't hear one City fan talking about bringing in a Morgan Rogers into the City team? Some City fans had never even heard of him 3 years ago. And then we're playing the hindsight game. But I watched him in a Girona game when we came back from the World Cup. We played Girona in a friendly at the CFA. He was nowhere near the levels. Completely different player. But now some are going, oh, look what you got rid of. Lavia at the time was not ready to, he didn't want to be the backup to Rodra. What do? Do you force these players to stay? I don't know. I don't know what's right and what's wrong in terms of.
I guess the argument about the Lavia one is you did have a buyback, which you didn't trigger.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's a fair response.
Southampton.
Yeah, I think that's a fair response, and as well, the Palmer one, we have to acknowledge there was a mistake made there anyway. But listen, I want to ask you both a question because Andrew brings up a good point here in the super chat. He's saying City got arrogant because Liverpool and Arsenal bought no one. Do you think this played a role, maybe from a board perspective? They kind of looked at Arsenal getting in a Calafiori, a Marino, and a Sterling, and then they looked at Liverpool kind of signing Chiesa and went like, these others hadn't really improved like that.
I think complacent's probably the right word, not arrogant, I'd say.
I mean, so you could argue that complacency is arrogance to some degree, to be fair, but listen, I hear the point you're bringing up, Andrew. I hear the point you're bringing up, but maybe... Go ahead, Martin.
I think it was the Pep situation. Pep wasn't giving any kind of indication whether he was staying there. Well, in fact, no. The indication was Pep was going. That was the inside info coming out. He was going.
So
and Cheeky, they already knew in the summer Cheeky was going. They knew in the summer Cheeky was going.
Do you think it was? He's going at the end of 2025. That's when, like you said earlier, the rebuild starts in 2025 because they thought Pep was.
Yeah, I genuinely do start to believe.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, oh, I always thought one of them, give us one more year. But it was the general belief coming out of the summer was he was going. This was his last year. And maybe, I don't know anymore.
With Cheeky going as well, you get the new.
I hate saying this, and I don't want to be that guy because I do believe we'll be fine with it. But I've as a fan base, we've been a bit naive to think that the charges don't play a part in some players wanting to come.
Yeah.
I don't know on that. It's a hard one.
This is surprising coming from you, Martin, because maybe if I said this 2 months ago, you'd have laughed at me. But now you're
even
you're saying this now. Fair enough.
I do believe we'll be fine. I do believe we'll be fine. I'm just thinking. I don't know what goes on in other players' heads, though.
No, Martin, you're right, though, because if you take everything into account, by the way, none of these players are lawyers. Yes, some of their agents or their personnel may have more insider information on how this court case could go. But you're right, though, when you start to add all of this up, Pep's leaving, Tixie's leaving, Omar Barada's left, when you start to hear these things, you start to, as an outsider, by the way, that has no information about how this could go, you start to think, wait a minute, if personnel like that are leaving City and Pep doesn't want to stay, is there more to it than we think? And by the way, this could be completely false and there's nothing to these charges at all. But as an outsider looking in, you do start to look at that and go, do I want to stay? Let me see how this plays out first and then I'll come. Because you might be onto something there, but we'll never know, I guess.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't Pep commit? Why wouldn't Tixie
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I only read what I know and learn from the likes of Nobbins and Stefan and things like that, and a lot of research. So I don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen with them. Nobbins summed it up perfectly 20 minutes ago. It's not just one problem. This is like 25 problems just snowballed into one big one. And I don't think there is a solution right now. I don't think there is a other way of than getting a rebuild going. That will take time. I don't think this happens, by the way, in one window.
That's because you've got to
Really
it's
don't.
not just-
Oh,
it's not
you
just-
definitely. Here's the thing, Martin. I will tell you this though. If Liverpool could do it in one window and we're notoriously shit at transfers, then so can you. If we were
Yeah,
able to sell 7 midfielders,
It's the
and get
level.
4 in-
It's the level, Hussam. Hussam,
Yeah, but
you've been
I
on my
think-
channel
here's the
enough.
thing.
You've heard the
Tell-
names.
tell me-
Jesus.
Let me ask you a question. Tell me the players that you think the club would get rid of. In your opinion, the club want to get rid of who?
I think
In
there might
January
be-
or overall? Talking
Overall, in general, just tell me who you think is out the door.
Edison,
Okay.
one of Stones or Ake, and by the way, Stones breaks my heart because he's my favourite player alongside KDB. I think Grealish, I'm not sure. I think there will be a question mark over that. Bernardo, I think, will be safe because of his contract situation.
Mm-hmm.
See, Kovacic and Nunes is a weird one because, again, they are squad players who are not meant to come in and play 30, 40, 50 games. They were meant to be your backups off the bench, and they're very good backups. They're more than adequate to do that role. So, but I don't want to. Again, it's who you bring in. McAtee, I think, will leave in Jan.
Okay.
I think
We're only at
McAtee
4,
will
by
go
the
in
way.
January. Kyle Walker will go.
5.
Oh, I thought we were doing the obvious ones. I think Ortega will probably go. I think we'll end up buying 2 goalies
Okay, we're at 6.
overall. I'm trying to go through the squad. Jacob
when-
Wright will go on loan. Jacob Wright will go on loan.
Yeah, but that's not. You don't be shameless.
He's
It's
on the
not
bench.
part
No,
of the
no,
rebuild.
Hussam, he's on the bench. He's on the bench, mate. He's been on the
Yeah,
bench.
but
for God knows
that's
how
not
long.
that's not a part of a rebuild. Like when we sent Harvey Elliott out on loan, that's not
Oh,
part of a rebuild.
Hang on, you need a bench as well in a rebuild, don't you?
No, I'm with you. I'm saying, okay, let's say City want to sell 7 players. Okay, let's say 7 players are going to leave Manchester City in the summer. I think you could sell 7 and get 4 or 5 in one summer. I don't think
Well,
that's like an
I
impossible.
also think KDB will leave on a free. I don't think
Okay.
he renews.
Okay,
So
so we're at
there's
7 players, exactly like our
7,
one.
8. Yeah, 7, 8.
It's
The
possible
problem
to do
is,
this in one window.
who's buying
It
them?
is.
Who's buying them? Have you seen that board? They move at the speed of a sloth.
Hey,
But
my
yeah,
neighbor. in
Our
the
board
country-
can't do. Our board can't do 15 deals in one window. Yeah, I know
Listen,
that.
You
my
have to
neighbor
take
in the
some,
country, Saudi Arabia. They
you have to
this
take some
league.
losses, won't you? So I
Yes.
did a
Massive.
I did like a stream, asking this very question, not necessarily in one season, but just in terms of like answering the rebuild situation. And I earmarked like 10 players who probably need to go and need to be moved on at some point.
Yeah, I have probably missed 1 or 2 there.
Yeah, or rather, I predicted them. So I've predicted. Again, this isn't necessarily one window. It might be multiple. Walker, Gundogan, Ortega, Edison, De Bruyne, Stones, McAtee, Bernardo Silva, Nunes, and Grealish. I think that you'll need to bring in 8 players, essentially, because Etcheverry is coming in. Whatever. I've also suggested maybe we could recall a Doyle next season. So I'm looking at you need to bring in a right back, a central midfielder minimum in January. So that's 2, and then in the summer you need to bring in 6 players, but one of those is a backup keeper. So really, it's 5. And people say 5 first teamers. That's a lot. But we did that in the 17-18 window. We brought in 5 first teamers in one window, so it can happen.
Yes.
And those players, I would suggest we need a goalkeeper, probably a versatile defender who can play left back and right back. Sorry, left back and centre back, probably. An attacking midfielder to be a high volume chance creator. Probably like another senior winger and some sort of versatile forward. So that's definitely possible in terms of incomings. You can bring in 2 or 3 players in Jan, and you can bring in 4 or 5 in summer because we've done it before. This squad needs a 17-18 window. Back then, we needed fresh fullbacks. This time, we need a fresh midfield and other areas of the pitch as well. So it definitely can happen. But that is the level of the rebuild we're talking about.
By the way, I just didn't include Bernardo because I was doing it to 2025. Bernardo, my issue with Bernardo is I don't think you're going to get anyone who'll buy him when with 12 months left.
I think you can find clubs. You can find a club that can.
You'll have to take losses.
I understand your logic.
You're gonna
But
take a
I
big
do
loss.
this with my own. I do this with my own fans. When people go like, you can't find a club for Darwin Núñez. I'm like, yes, you can. Like,
Well, Sam, we have not one bid for Bernardo over how many years is it? He's been sort of woman and ahhing about going out, Nobbins. 3. Not one bid. We even put a release clause in his contract, and nobody moved.
But circumstances change, don't they? Like if you want to move on a player, you
I
can.
hope so.
Like these are ultimately business people. At the end of the day, you can. This is why people, when it's a different example, but when people say, "Oh, you can't get Bruno Guimaraes out of Newcastle because Newcastle will want X amount of money," you can negotiate. Like allegedly, we weren't going to get Gvardiol for any less than 100 million quid. We got him for less than 80 million in the end. So you can negotiate. You can get rid of players. Again, you might need
the
to take
board
a
are going to have
loss.
to wait. They're going to have to eat some humble pie a little bit on maybe 1 or 2 deals.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I think some of the agents, especially January, if they want Bruno in January now, I know the reports today are saying no. If they want, they're just going to have to go and slap 90 down. They're going to have to do it. We can't. You've got 4 weeks in a window. We can't be doing this, negotiate for 3.5 weeks.
Plus, you got the Club World Cup next summer as well. And
that's the other thing that gets me. Bloody Club World Cup going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what I mean?
Just
I bet Nobbins can't wait to do watch-alongs on that.
Yeah.
More
same.
More fixtures. So just
can't wait till flamenco at 2 a.m. in the morning to do watch along.
Yeah, are you guys worried? Just the last question on City before we move on to Arsenal and Chelsea. Last question on City, and I'll start off with Nobbins on this one. Tell me, are you worried that Man City could now be in a battle for top 4 and possibly lose out on it, or is that a step too far, or is it a possibility?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that right now.
I didn't expect you to say that. That caught me off guard. Do you really think that?
Yeah, well, based on like the current team, 100%. Yeah. The
team's the worst form in the league, Sam. They've the worst form in the league since like November or something.
Yeah, as
worse than Southampton.
One assumes that the injury situation isn't going to resolve itself because, as we've discussed, it's a vicious cycle. So I'm operating under the assumption it's going to stay as bad as this in the defense. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be able to play our best back 4. We've played that once this season. We've only been able to play it once this season. Sorry. Outside of signing at least 2 starters in Jan, at this stage we probably do finish below 4th. Yeah. We obviously right now finish below Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, obviously. And then the question just becomes, can someone else take advantage and go into 4th spot? I don't know what the teams are right now, but I know that Forest are obviously there. I think
Villa went above.
Yeah, Villa. Bournemouth have the chance to go ahead of us tomorrow as well. So they aren't names.
This is such a crazy thing to say when you're talking about bloody City, bro.
But this is like this is the cost of being complacent and not.
It could be 8th or 9th at the end of the weekend, Sam. It's like results go badly.
Yeah, imagine exactly. I told you a month ago we're going to be putting City in a sentence with Bournemouth and Fulham. You'd have called me the craziest.
Fulham as well, yeah, and like just like on that because again we need to start a midfielder in Jan at a minimum. I was just going to ask the question: when was the last time City signed a starting midfielder?
Yeah, because Rodri wasn't even a starter.
When you got Rodri, KDB, and Foden, or Rodri, KDB, and Bernardo, it's like shit. Who are you gonna sign to start here?
Right. So was our last starting midfielder Rodri? That was in 2019. That was 5 years.
He wasn't even signed as a starter, was he? Because you had Fernandinho.
Yeah, he was back. Fernandinho.
He wasn't. Yeah, so you got to. Yeah, so you might be even going back to
Bernardo
when we signed like a Bernardo Silva, for example. So we're talking about.
Okay, but Bernardo was signed as a winger technically when he first
6 or so years ago. These are the, you know what I mean. So people say, "Oh, we need a midfield now. We need a midfield total reconstruction." There are a couple of core players 15. there.
De
Yeah,
Bruyne was probably
there are a
the last
couple
one.
of core players
And
there.
you
but,
still need bench. You still need a bench player
Yeah.
as well. You still need
Yeah.
people on the bench. This is why I wouldn't just get rid of a Kovacic and a Nunes straight out the door, because you still got to need to bring in players, and I don't want to put all the pressure onto a young lad like an Echeverria. I mean, the January thing is massive. Personally, I'd try and get. I don't know if we can. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure that one out. Is can we bring Callum Bale back in January? But that could be
apparently,
an
we're not.
option.
I was told we're not allowed to do that.
Are we not allowed?
No, apparently not.
There's contradicting reports on it, isn't there?
Hmm.
I mean, it's a shame because I would have had Callum Bale back in Jan, because I do think he'll be part of the squad next year. Right now, see, my question is, I got asked a question earlier, Hassan.
Yes.
Will City beat Leicester, Everton, and West Ham?
Okay, let me give you a
This is
genuine
mad.
response.
Oh,
No
shut
banter.
This is mad.
Okay, let me give you a
Exactly,
genuine
Andrew. This is
non-banter.
how much the question was.
Okay,
This
let me
is
ask you.
mad.
Let me give you a genuine non-banter response. You're beating Everton because that's just going to be low block from hell, and they will play negative football. They will not try. They will not attempt to do anything to Manchester City and exploit their weaknesses. You can shake your head all you want. Forest did the same shit, and they ended up slapping them. You're going to beat Leicester. West Ham is the tough game in that one. Remember these words, Martin. You'll remember. I know ball.
Yeah, okay. Here's the difference. Teams aren't actually playing low blocks against us anymore. They're actually
Yeah, but
coming
that's
out.
Sean Dyche. Like, he drinks that in the morning with his breakfast. Like,
Did you
he's
see
always
Aston
gonna-
Villa? It took Aston Villa 15 seconds to open us up like a can of beans.
Yeah.
15
But here's the thing.
seconds.
Everton are slow as hell. They don't have quick players. They're slow as fuck. And they do not have any intention of playing football. They don't give a fuck about playing football. They're going to get 10 men behind the ball, Calvert-Lewin with your two center-backs, and that's it. Every time
Sam,
they get the ball,
would you say,
Rosie.
Sam, would you say when Arsenal played Everton that Arsenal were playing better than at that time than City are right now? Would you say that?
I'll tell you the difference. City's problem, a lot of it is defensive and legs in midfield. Okay. Are Everton gonna have an issue with the legs? Like, are they gonna be an issue from a legs perspective or from City defending perspective? Unless Everton score a set piece or a corner, I can see a possible scenario where that happens. Open play, they're not scoring because if you think City are slow, okay, no problem. You want to do this, Martin? You want to do this? Let's fucking do this. Let's read. No, because I
That's
love
not Martin. That's not Martin.
No, I want to say one thing, right? This is the Everton lineup against Arsenal. Okay, Pickford, Ashley Young, Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, Michaelenko, Dokore, Ismail Gay, and Mangala with Ndiaye and Jack Harrison. You could probably beat 3/4 of them for pace. And
what was the score?
0-0.
Oh, this stinks of 0-0. It stinks.
Okay, but here's the thing:
0-0.
football is a game of chess. With Arsenal, their problem is breaking
They're
down.
not
low
playing
blocks.
chess at the minute, though.
Yeah, we're playing
Listen,
shit.
I know these guys
They're
are
not playing
all down in
chess.
shit. Mark my words, City are gonna beat Everton. Remember this.
City are also slow in midfield. They are slow.
3 points for Christmas.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of. But Andrew, I had this conversation the other day on Moles. This reminds me of Mourinho in that season.
Yeah.
Where you sit there and you think, because Chelsea fans were sat there, you remember, and Andrew will confirm this. So listen to loads of, we'll get that win here, we'll get that win, and then that win never come. And then by the time you blink, you're 15th, and you go in. Oh shit, hang on a minute. And by the way, like I said, we can drop to 90 by the end of tomorrow. Or Monday.
Big up.
No, he's right.
I'm not even talking 4th and 5th at that point. I got a message today when he's Alan Ball back in charge. Went, my God, and that was from a long that was from like someone who's in his 60s. Not talking you, Bear.
That's mad.
This is our worst run, Hussam. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nobbins, because you will know you are a stats guy, a legend. In it 20 years, in our worst run in 20 years, if I'm right.
Oh yeah, since Stuart Pearce, yeah.
There you go.
Stuart
Pearce. And we could score a goal at home.
David James in goal.
David James is a
David
striker
James up
sometimes.
front. Never mind in goal. He was up front, kicking the Sampa days.
This is mad. This is actually mad. But you know what it is. Listen, I know
City
Martin
are
and Nobbins.
back. City are back.
We've
Got
got
my
our
child.
City
Listen, I
back.
know Martin
We've
and
got
Nobbins
our
are down,
City.
but I promise you, City are beating Everton. Most likely beating Leicester. West Ham is the tough game in that run. Mark my words. But anyway,
You're
regardless,
not 100% sure, though, are you? That's the thing.
no,
You're not
I am
100%.
sure. I think they will beat
I
Everton.
bet you're not 100% sure, though, on all of them.
I'm 100% sure they'll beat Everton because Everton don't have the weapons to exploit City's weaknesses, and City's weaknesses right now are also Everton's weaknesses, and Everton will give zero fucks about attacking in that game, and
Oh,
that's
yeah, I
actually how
know
you
that.
compare to Man City.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna call you.
I'm not saying
I
I'm just saying it might be a draw. I'm not even saying like City loser. I'm just saying it might be a
Do you know
draw.
what I'm hoping for before you move on?
Oh,
I'm
you've
hoping
done all
that.
this to just sit on the fence and say draw. You're such a
No,
fraud.
I'm hoping Pride
Just
kicks
talk
in
it
at some
out.
point. No, I'm probably hoping a bit of Pride kicks in, and maybe that's a bit of copium. I'm hoping Pride kicks in at some point, and they go, enough's enough. Enough is enough.
Are you
They've
going
got
to the Everton game,
11 games to kick in Pride, I think, but beyond that now.
Martin, are you going to the Everton game?
Yeah, I'm at a real.
You're gonna be at the Etihad, right?
Yep.
When you're 2-0 up, I'm gonna call you while you're at the Etihad. Pick up. I'm gonna tell you, I told you you're gonna beat Everton. Remember this
Are you
moment.
doing a watch
chat.
along? I don't know if
No.
it's on TV. No, it's on
Of course,
TV. It's
any,
half 12,
chance
isn't it?
any chance to hate on City, I will. I admit this. However, I do think you will probably win. So, hey, I might celebrate. Hey, get Everton relegated. Fuck it. Why not? Let's go. Anyway, listen, I know Nobbins
Best
and Martin
stadium
have
in
to
the
go.
championship.
Big up to you both. Thank you so much for joining us. L Nobbins is in the description. Go subscribe. Mancunian Ways in the description. Go subscribe. Go subscribe to these amazing City content creators who joined us. One sick and one from the car. So much. They're showing a lot more pride than their team right now. So big up to you both. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys hopping on. Thank you guys so much. Big up. Guys, in the chat, 770 people. We ain't even on 200 likes yet. Imagine. We've spent 1 hour. Let me put the wait.
What is this, a Phil Foden shooting lesson with the likes? What is this, man? Come on,
1
man.
second.
What is this?
Okay, Chelsea are still second. Okay. So big up to every single one of you guys. Make sure you guys are slapping the like button and subscribing. We cannot have less, not even 200 likes. This is an insult
terrible.
after us talking about City for a whole hour. Have some shame and some grace and some decor. You get me? And we're about to talk about Corner FC as well in a second. So like and subscribe in it. Like and subscribe. So let's talk Arsenal first. Big up to MB who says great victory for Arsenal just to be third still. Okay. Hey, hey, he has a point to be fair. You know what I'm saying? He has a point.
Hey, we're not thinking about one lap. We're thinking about the whole marathon. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, guys, TK is Arteta and Arteta out at the same time.
No,
Congrats to Arsenal beating a team with 0 home wins. W's in the chat for Arsenal. They beat
Okay.
Crystal
I want to
Palace.
make one thing clear. I am not Arteta in. There you go.
Are you Arteta out?
Yes, of course, bro.
Oh, I never knew this.
What
Anyway,
is that for question? I told you I'm Arteta neutral. I'm just waiting and seeing what happens. You know, what I'm
that's
saying?
bullshit.
That's
You
He's
cannot
bullshit.
do
Arteta question
No,
mark.
you're not allowed to be
That's
Arteta
such
neutral. You're either in
bullshit.
or out.
You cannot do this Arteta neutral crap. You cannot do this. I'm Arteta neutral. That's not how football conversations work, mate. You know.
Hey, bro,
But anyway,
I've been patient a lot longer than I expected. So you know what I'm saying. So at least give me that.
okay, fair enough. But that doesn't mean you can be Arteta neutral. Only place you can be neutral is in the car. Like and subscribe, chat. So,
Oh my god.
I'm sorry you don't drive manual. Man up.
No,
TK,
just terrible.
talk to me about Arsenal Palace.
It's a dad joke there, man.
Yeah, it's
That's why you laugh.
I know.
This was a great game in the sense of this is what we needed. We needed a big win to get our confidence back, to get what I'm saying, to get our heads together. Basically, we beat them the game before, and we showed them that we are clearly the better side, even though we had a big injury in Saka. And we just showed our teeth. Normally, we lack when it comes to creative spark, when it comes to shooting the ball. let alone creating the ball. Creating the play, let alone shooting the ball. So, and in this game, we were ruthless. That's the one thing I will say about this game. We were ruthless. We didn't hesitate. Normally, when we have the ball, we take that 1 touch, 2 touch extra. And in this game, we didn't do that whatsoever. And also, Martinelli being on the right side gave us something we missed this season as well. It's someone who runs on the wings and just crosses the ball. Very simple, very basic, you know what I'm saying? And Gabriel Jesus, amazing performance. I have nothing more to say about that. 5 goals in 2 games. The guys that normally we criticize in Martinelli, in Jesus, you know what I'm saying, those guys actually stepped up. So big up to them. I hope this will continue because, Hossam, you said this at MHF as well. The biggest problem that we face in this team, in this current squad right now, is consistency. And especially with Gabriel Jesus, who has been constantly injured, who dropped his form from here and there, you know what I'm saying? So from here on out, we expect consistency from these players because we need to go on a big run if we need to make this a close race with Liverpool and Chelsea. So, and this game was a great kickstart, in my opinion, to go on that great and big run that we actually need from these players. Now, the interesting part is I'm actually not that happy after this game. Normally, I celebrate after a big win like this, but my guy got injured, and it's a hamstring injury as well. And if it's
Havertz didn't get injured.
no, that's not okay. You're a fraud. You're a fraud. But
That's your guy, innit?
no, never. But and normally. Even the slightest.
I stifled him. I'm so fraudulent. I just stopped him mid-track.
bro,
he can't respond anymore.
I lost the train of thought.
You sicked him.
Yeah, you Usyk me, bro. You know, so big win, by the way. Big up to Usyk. But anyway,
Boxing hype.
This means that this will be minimum 2.5, 3 weeks of no Saka, and for me that's a huge problem because even in games where it didn't click, we got a Saka that bailed us out with an amazing individual play or an amazing cross that it's literally a tap in for the other guys. So we don't have that right now for minimum 3 weeks. So it will be interesting to see how it will go going forward. But I am happy that the guys that normally do not performed great in this game. And for me, it's just hoping and praying that this will be something consistent. So that's all I have to say about this game, basically.
Sulz?
I mean, look, massive victory to kickstart a campaign and, to try and actually chase down Liverpool. It's a good confidence booster, the midweek game, obviously winning 3-0, coming here, winning 5-1. It's a platform to kind of build on, and especially, as TK said as well, with Saka being injured, it's an opportunity for these players to step up and actually, be accounted for. We're not Saka FC. We're not just set piece FC. As much as we claim those titles, like I don't really care. If we're set piece FC, it is what it is. Like, our top goal scorer can be corners. I don't really care. As long as it wins us the league, I don't care how we do it. We can win it with just scoring corners the entire season. I'll be happy with that because at the end of the day, as long as it delivers a Premier League or a Champions League or something, that's ultimately the end goal. And, now it's about these players not being able to hide anywhere. Because Jesus has been talking a lot since scoring a hat-trick as well about, wanting to improve, wanting to be a part of the team and, not wanting to knock on the door, but be given an opportunity. Now that you've got the opportunity, take it. And
Yeah,
so
if you
far,
keep performing like this, then there's no problem.
Okay,
So who do you play next? Arsenal. Who do you play
we
next?
Ipswich.
Ipswich.
Okay, are both of you starting Jesus?
Yeah.
Yes.
But my point isn't about starting. It's more about the fact that, now that you're given the opportunity, so far he's taken it in the 2 games that he has played, obviously a hat-trick and two goals, and obviously being quite a vital part of the attack. You are going to start him in the next game. But it's also about like whether he gets that injury again and whether we need to manage his minutes, etc. Like there's a lot of factors that go into this. But ultimately, what I want is I just want us to get through to January. That's the number one goal. Like first hurdle is let's just get through this busy Christmas period where we play after Boxing Day. We play after Boxing Day after everyone else, and I think we're one of the last games of the game week, and we need to get that over the line, which is going to be Ipswich. Whether we can cope with the pressure of if, let's say, Liverpool do drop points and Chelsea drop points, can we, for the first time, actually take advantage of that? So we'll see if that happens. But secondary to that, now that there is something for this club to invest because Saka's injured, will they do it? Will they go into January and actually show ambition for the first time, since the Arteta or post-Wenger reign? Because yes, in the Wenger reign, we did a lot in January. Right?
Wasn't the report though a week ago that Arsenal won't invest in January?
No, that's not what they said. So technically what he said was he's going to monitor it week by week and see if we need to do something in the market, we will do it. So that's kind of what he's alluding to, is if something in the squad doesn't happen, or if we're not doing something, or the squad doesn't look quite right, they'll make those moves. But if he feels that let's just say the entire thing just clicks and they're on fire, then obviously the likelihood is we won't make a drastic move, because then it's easier to make these moves, especially getting in a striker or a big name winger in the summer window than it is getting him in January, unless you're willing to pay like 40, 50, 60 million pounds on top of what they're already asking for, especially for the wingers and the players of the caliber that we need are in the middle of a title race themselves. So the likelihood is they're probably not going to want to leave. I'm not saying that's always the case, because you can still make signings in January, but it's not going to be to the caliber that we need. We're going to need to look for market opportunities. But saying that, will Arsenal make the move when they need to? And will they finally show the ambition? Because it's not just about, whether Arteta does it or whether this person. It's also about the club opening up and saying, you know what, you've lost a very vital cog. Of course, in the coming week, we'll find out how drastic of an injury it is. It could just be a few weeks. It could be that he's out for a few months. Obviously, the speculation is it's going to be a few months and it doesn't look good. So, it's up to the other players. Like Martinelli, for example, the perfect opportunity for him to re-announce himself to the Arsenal fans. And the reason why I say that is, in my opinion, right, Martinelli is a very stupid player. So what you do with a stupid employee is you don't give them a lot to think about. No.
Wow.
It's a compliment as much as it is a disrespect to him. But what I'm saying to that is, like
it's a compliment to call someone a stupid player. That is mad.
Or even and I'll explain. Like Bill Gates says, right, and there's comprehension to what I'm about to say. Bill Gates says, I give the most difficult task to the lazy people because they'll find the easiest way to do it. Right? That's what I'm trying to say with Martinelli. Now, when I say he's a stupid player, just don't give him a lot to think about, because when you give him things to do and you're like, think about this, look up and make it up. No, when you take all of that away from him and just say, just play your game, go to the byline, bang it in, just press square, just press square, just press square. When he doesn't have to think about shoot, this, make a pass back, what that does is it unlocks what he did today, because I think he played phenomenally off the right, because every time he went to the byline, some of the crosses he was putting in were absolutely amazing. Like, they were on the peaches. Like, if we had a Haaland, I bet Haaland gets a double hat-trick today with some of the crosses he put in today. So that's what I mean. I know people are going to take it in the wrong way, which I understand, because it's not nice to call someone stupid, but it can also work in your favor. Sometimes being dumb and being lazy does work in your favor, because you'll just find the easiest way and you'll find a way to do things. Because his problem was never, can I take a player on? Can I do this? It was always the final third, can you make the right decision? And if you take that decision, because the same way when Jesus first came in, when Martinelli came in right into the center and all you have to do was just shoot in front of goal, that's when he got his double figures. Because what we did was, you don't do anything. You just get into the box and just shoot. That's all you have to do. Just get the shot correction choice correct. That's it. Now all he has to do is get either the cutback or the cross, and that's it. That's all we're asking him to do. So that's going to elevate his game to a whole new level. And when it comes to Trossard, let's see if he steps up as well, because a lot of people in the fan base want him to start games. Personally, I just think he's an impact sub, and that's basically what he'll be, especially in this current Arsenal setup. Havertz has got a big role to play. The likes of Odegaard need to step up because he's the captain. He's one of the talismans of the team. The likes of Saliba, Gabriel need to continue what they're doing. But the biggest thing that people are going to look to now is the £105 million signing in Declan Rice. What you did today when you came off the bench and with an assist and a goal is exactly what we need to continue seeing from you. And this has got to be the platform that they use, because how much more confidence, how much more performances do you need? But it's also Arteta realizing he doesn't need to stay pragmatic anymore. He can just let the handbrakes go and just go for it.
And this brings back what I said on MHF.
Thank God for that.
What I said on MHF. Okay. So let's say now.
The thing is, I understand why.
Let me,
he's
let,
done
me,
this
let, me, let, me, let me
conservative.
just say this. Ipswich, regardless, even if you and TKA were double team as the manager, you're going to attack. Ipswich at home, you're going to destroy them. I won't even bother with that game. So let's push that to the side, okay? The game after that is Brentford away and Brighton away. Do you both agree? If Arteta reverts back to this defensive shit again, then you're going to go like, what the hell is happening here? Let's say, for the sake of argument, you beat Brighton 1-0 off a set piece, but you draw to Brentford 0-0 because he went defensive again. How would you feel then?
I personally wouldn't be happy. At this moment in time, we have nothing to lose and we need to go all out. And if we still are trying to control, what are we trying to control? Third place? So I don't understand. So for me, this is a moment where we need to go all out. Excuse me. We need to
Do
go
you
all out.
expect him to go all out? That's a better question.
Okay. That's a really good
Ipswich,
question.
yes, we all agree he's going to attack. Even Andrew, I speak for him. He's going to attack. After that,
That's
Right.
a very difficult question. I don't
Right,
know.
it's not a difficult question, and I think with Brighton and Brentford, he may revert back in some phases of the game.
oh, there you are.
Yeah, and I'll explain the reasons why. Because
So what if one of them ends 1-1 or 2-2?
that's where
or
it's a
something?
problem, because what he needs to now do is create the balance, right? No, it's not about going all out, because against Brighton and Brentford, let's be real, like as much as yes, we should be beating these teams, going all out attack against them, they can hurt you as well. They're just as capable of getting a counter, getting in behind as any other team in the league. So what?
But we
need to
beat
do-
Brighton twice by attacking them.
No, no,
Do you think headed into that pitch, the
But
Brighton
we
players
have
will
to
be
be-
more
we have to
intimidated,
also be
or the Arsenal players
sensible,
will be more intimidated?
Because today, for example, we went all out attacking some phases of the game. Crystal Palace nearly got back at us. So what we need to do is be smart. We need to focus on okay, let's go for a certain phase. Like let's say the first 20 minutes, maybe the first 30 minutes, we got all out attack and try and get that 2-0, get a cushion, get something, and then maybe be a bit more reserved just to kind of get a bit of control, kill the momentum shift that can happen, or maybe even in the beginning of the first half where the managers had a rollicking into them, a bollocking into them, and they've got like a rocket up their ass. Control that, and then maybe in another phase where you've got a bit of second wind, go again. It's about being smart and playing in the phases. He's done that really well in the sort of big, latter stages of or the beginning of this year, where in certain parts of the game we went 2-0 up in the first 30 minutes, and then we kind of just played our game. If we got a third, we got a third. If we got a fourth, we got a fourth. And that's what I need to see in those games. Now, I 100% agree. The Southamptons, the Ipswich, the Evertons, maybe not Fulham. Fulham are a good team at the moment. But in those games, yeah, I want him to go all out attack and just try and just absolutely dominate them.
I don't think he'll play Havertz and Jesus in both those away games. I just don't see him doing that. That's what I don't see him doing. So that would be madness if he does that. I think Brentford, but Brentford just lost their home defeat today against Forest, and you know what I mean. Forest handled pretty well. Brighton's a tricky one because they're so in and out. Do you know what I mean? You don't know which Brighton you're going to get. You're going to get the one against Crystal Palace, or you're going to get the one against Man City. Do you know what I mean? I think, but he definitely should not start Jesus and Havertz in both those away games because that would be madness for me.
I think he's managing injuries because if you look at
for
example, he's obviously got this weird toe injury or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long a dislocated shoulder really takes to recover from because he's been having, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
It depends if you, did he have it work surgery or was it just rehab?
No, he just, to be fair, it was like a strain or something as well. So
Right.
I don't know if it is that or if he's just not being selected and maybe it's like.
He just might still be getting used to the Premier League. We got to give him that as well. Do you know what I mean? People 100%. Don't, they still can take a while. People sometimes don't hit.
He is a truck, so the oil needs to run first before he can actually, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
No, Marino isn't stiff. Like he is quite a agile player. He can get out.
Hey, your own fan disagrees with you. Right there, Arsenal fan.
No, that's just because I've been watching him in and out for the past few seasons. He is a press-resistant player. He's a bit more agile than Xhaka. Now, where I disagree with a lot of people's analysis of Marino, he's the complete opposite of a Xhaka. He's nothing. He's not even a close. You don't even consider it an upgrade. Just because they look the same and they're built the same doesn't mean that it's an upgrade or the same type of player. Now, what Marino offers, and he hasn't done that yet, is what we were hoping Havertz did in the left mid, where he comes in late runs, overloads the 8, comes in and scores that header or scores that physical. He's meant to be more of a physical presence in the box as an overload, more than he is going to be this long shot bang, like a Xhaka would do against United every single time, 30 yards or 35-yard screamers. That's not what Moreno's going to do. But what Moreno also does is a bit more of a tiki-taka footballer. He's not I'm going to ping you 40 yards and find a runner. He's more of a, let me play it in, let me keep tempo control. That's kind of what his game is. And that's why it's harder to rate a player like that, because he does nothing exciting. He's just a basic footballer, but he's very effective at what he does. But he's more of a, in my opinion, what I would want to do is bring him on when you're winning a game 3-4-0 just to kill the momentum. That's what he more is.
I think what we also saw today is that Partey is so important if you just keep him in the midfield of the pitch and not play him at right back or inverted or something like that. I know Timber done that job mostly today, the inverted role, but Partey's passing and everything like that, especially the second half, it was just more control from Arsenal. Like, I thought the first half there was some sketchy, like Saliba had a sketchy thing, and then Raya that short pass. I've seen every goalkeeper in the Premier League do that pass now. I think that short pass is just madness. Just boot it out. Just boot it out and start again. I don't understand this short passing that everyone does. It's just madness. But yeah, I think Partey in the middle was, you saw it, because it allowed Odegaard to basically go anywhere he wanted to go today, because you saw him dropping deeper, you saw him high up the pitch, and from that. So he has to keep Partey there. He has to keep Partey in and keep Timber. And I thought Lewis Skelly played very well today as well at left back. You know what I mean? I thought he should be playing at left back. Just keep him at left. Don't drop him for the next game, because you'll shake his confidence. Just keep playing him.
Hey, don't give him any ideas. You know he's gonna drop him.
I know, but that'd be madness, wouldn't it? Because he'll drop him and play.
You know, Ipswich are so shit that regardless of what Arteta does, they're gonna win.
Yeah,
that's why
we should be able to play Jorginho, Merino next to each other, the two slowest guys in our teams, and still be able to beat Ipswich 3-0 convincingly.
If the Saka, I think Ipswich at home is especially Saka being injured, is the perfect opponent after Saka being injured. Do you know what I mean? Unless it was Southampton, those two teams are the perfect opposition when you've had a big injury to a big player to start off with. You can get over with. You can gel. He'd want to stick Martinelli in the right still and play Tross on the left. Work it out for the whole game. But it's the test afterwards. It's Brentford away, it's Brighton away. Those are the big ones where you go. That's where you'll feel Saka's absence, possibly. Do you know what I mean? To get you out of something if you're struggling.
and TKA watched their own fan base around 7-8 years ago when Sanchez was out for 4 or 5 games. The question was asked on AFTV: are we better without Alexis Sanchez?
Oh.
And then the losing started, and then they ended up going 2 games. This is what I always tell people, guys. If we miss Salah for 2 games, we probably win the first 2. But then after that is when we are fucked. This is the thing people need to understand.
People did that with
It's about the long term. Remember at the start of the season, who did we just have? Martin and Nobbins. At the start of the season, when City didn't have Rodri, they were winning games. And then they went to the shits, because it's about doing it over the 38 game period.
But we've already witnessed that when Martin Odegaard got injured, and we had a few games where we looked all right and we looked like the same team, and then all of a sudden we started dropping these corners, and it was 1-0, and we were really struggling to actually break teams down. That's when people started to realize. And then the first game Odegaard came back, we won 5-0. It's that's what people need to remember. Is yes, first few games. That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried up until January, but I really need to see something come in that either rejuvenates this team and the fan base, or is a world-class beater, like a Lookman coming in, or a Liao coming in, Nico Williams coming in, or a Kvara. I know they're very unrealistic targets in January.
In January? Okay, yeah. Okay.
No, I know.
Are you guys happy to take Rashford in January?
Oh, 100%. Rashford's my guy. 100%.
I want to hear TK.
Okay, Gunnar Sulz, you have been brought to court. Explain why you would take Marcus Rashford, please.
Right, so Marcus Rashford's everything we don't have in the squad, which is a moments player, someone who can just produce something from nothing. And I feel like he is an environment player, so he needs to believe in the environment that he's in. So the minute he doesn't believe in the direction that the club's going in or the manager's going in, he does start to drop a bit. And that, I understand people are going to question the mentality of the player. But when we've seen it on form, on fire Rashford, he is absolutely unplayable. And part of the reason why I like him is because when you need a goal, Like, even when, look at Man United in some of the biggest games, right? When they've needed a goal, who pops up with them a lot of the times? I'm not saying every single time, but a lot of the times, it's Marcus Rashford. Look at Arsenal. Every single time, right? You ask an Arsenal fan, Marcus Rashford will get a goal. Whether they go win that game or not is a completely different story. But the reality of the matter is, he does get the goals when you least expect a goal. And that's what we're missing sometimes. It's just someone who can whip them from like
I'm with you.
absolutely
I
30
agree.
yards. And I think Arteta's a kind of manager who can get the best out of him. And he's only coming to his peak now. It's not like, we're not talking about a 30-year-old Sterling. We're not talking about a guy who hasn't played in 2 seasons.
Sterling, you must.
No. Sterling can't do nothing, mate. He can't must himself. So let alone, like, actually musting on the pitch. But, like, yeah, it's like he's only had an off season, really. So that's why, like, yeah, I'd 100% take him, especially, like, I cut a price. Go there, bully them into, like, giving it for... Say to Rashford, look, just make some noise. Yeah, they've already got banners to take you out. Here's 20 million. Take it or leave it.
The amount of bantering I did in my day about Havertz, and this guy ended up at my club. And I did the same, if not worse, with Marcus Rashford. And if this guy joins my club, I think I will lose it personally. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I would rather eat sandpaper and wash it off with literal sand than watch Marcus Rashford with an Arsenal shirt. And the reason why I say this is I do not want anything Manchester United, this current Manchester United at my club. They are rotten to the core. These players are washed. I do not want anything to contaminate my club that has anything to do with Manchester United currently, first of all. Second of all, this is the most inconsistent player top player I think we've seen in the Premier League. One season he's Ronaldinho, the other season he's Anthony. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what's going on with this guy. So for me to put my eggs into the maybe he will come good basket is just not the situation that we are in right now. It's not fuego, just to say it like that. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say this is I don't think Arteta has that long in this club to justify another project, let me fix another player situation. I think we need to go for the Gyokereses of the world, for the big players like you said, the Lookmans of the world, the Kvaratskhelia of the world. If we go buy another
But
guy
you're missing the point. We're talking January, something has to happen, right? These players are probably, and I'm not saying it's unlikely, it's impossible, but I'm saying it's unlikely they join. Because all of the players that we've just named are in the middle of something with their clubs already.
Yeah, but
So
Sulz,
even if it's
you know
a
what this
Rashford
reminds me
kill,
of? This reminds me of the Willian transfer. You know what I'm saying?
no, it's completely
Yes,
different.
in his day he was
Completely
good, but not in our kit. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, I would not buy Rashford. And my personal reasons aside, this guy is really inconsistent. This guy is a
I
great player.
can't wait for him to win us the league.
I think you
Anfield
should sign
settings, 40
Sterling
yards
permanently.
out, bang, Rashford wins us the league. I'm telling you, man, the man will do it for us.
No, I don't. I don't. Wallahi,
You know what they
brother,
remind me of when I was doing a
would love.
stream? I was doing
Yeah.
a stream with Tom Little and giving these scenarios where Sergio Ramos would score winners for us away at the Etihad and shit. But then you have to realize you're just being a fraud. Just being a fraud, Sulz. You get me, Sulz? You're doing too much. Rashford ain't gonna change shit at Arsenal.
No.
He ain't gonna change
Rashford,
shit at Arsenal. Yes, he
Rashford,
can bring up a moment
Anfield.
once every 15 games, but he don't make Arsenal league champions. He just does.
100% he does. 100%. I'm telling
Have
you.
you explain.
No. The reason is right that I told you the reason what we're missing in this team. We don't have a single player who can just do something when nothing's going your way. Like Saka's the only player who can.
Who
just
said
produce
Rashford can
a
do that
winning
to
moment.
begin with?
What's that?
Who said Rashford can do that to begin with?
I've seen him do it. I've seen him pull a goal when
Not nowhere consistent enough.
That's because of like the code. That's like the Arsenal, the United situation though, where everything's chopping and changing constantly. But when he's in a settled environment, when Arteta says to him, "Listen, lad, you either get married and have kids now, or you settle down because or you're not having no relationships right now." because you need to focus and you've got to play the game. We've got a good sports psychologist.
Maybe Arteta's a football manager, not Dr. Phil. He's not gonna get him a
he's
wife.
all of that, brother. He's elite.
He ain't gonna get him a fucking wife, bro. What's happening?
He's a jack of all trades. Yeah, he does it all. He's got a good team of people who's gonna sort his psyche out. Who are gonna get him focused up. No. I'm telling you the truth. Look at the current squad, right? I bet you, like everyone that's married has got most of them got babies.
You think these players are married because of Arteta?
Bro, he told them to settle down. Listen, you've got your football to focus on. Yeah. Listen. Havertz was at Chelsea. Havertz was at Chelsea, right, with the same partner. Comes to Arsenal within a season, man's getting married and having a kid. He did the celebration today. Man was like, yeah, I'm having a kid. Odegaard's had a kid. Saka's probably going to have a kid now that he's in.
So you're telling me
he's probably
not only
family, making a kid.
Not only did he tell them to marry, he also taught them when to make kids. Is that
no? He just said settle down, and then obviously, you know what happens when you get married and your kids happen in it. So
I understand it, but I don't know if you can credit Arteta for Havertz's kid. I don't know.
Listen, it's the environment in it. The environment creates this. He's created an environment.
The environment makes Havertz's wife get pregnant. This is some of the like craziest shit I've heard on this.
No, that's not what. No, that's what.
Ever. The environment makes them so in love that he goes home, makes love to his wife, and has a child.
Come on, like they're focusing on winning the league.
The environment makes him so in love. He goes like, "Listen, I want to marry."
Look at how close we were to winning the league. These guys celebrated too early. That's part of the problem, isn't it?
Also, when we win the league, their kids are born. You know what I'm saying? So they have a double celebration.
But did you not see? We had the banners created. We had everything, right? So that's exactly what happened. So we had the banners created. They were like looking at that. Shit happened, didn't it?
But let me ask you one thing, yeah. Just to go back to the whole Rashford.
Do you
thing
actually believe
blah,
what
blah,
you're saying, or are you bantering on a real?
No. Look, I do believe Arteta has cultivated a culture which gets you to focus on what you need to focus on. He has created a more professional environment. That doesn't necessarily mean that, obviously they're getting married and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit. But the point of the matter is that he is getting them more focused on their football. Because think about it, we used to have leaks, we used to have news stories, we used to have all of this. But when's the last time you've heard someone go drinking? When's the last time you've seen someone do balloons? Because Aubameyang was doing it, or one of them, right? When's the last time you've heard this sort of drama coming out?
Drinking as well. Let's go.
What's that?
Arteta's Superman. He stops them drinking as well at this point.
No. But what I'm saying is, before Arteta, or like in the early days of Arteta as well, we heard all of these stories coming out. Like they're drinking, they're doing balloons, they're doing all of this sort of stuff, right? They're partying, all of that. They didn't really respect the authority that Arsenal brings. Now, when you look at it, find me one article in the last 2 seasons, right? I'm giving you a big time scale here, that you can find one act of disciplinary that you can sit there and go, actually, this is where they've gone wrong. You're just not going to find it, because he's telling them to settle down and focus on the game. Saka, being a young player with all this money as well, are you hearing it? You hear Foden, by the way, at Man City, who couldn't defend his mom. But you're not hearing that about Saka. You're not hearing him being in those environments where he's having to do these sort of things. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying, I know it's an exaggeration when I say he's getting them married, all of this sort of stuff, but it's cultivating that environment where they're focusing on what they need to focus on. And he's saying, leave the drama out the door. We don't want it here. If you're going to do that. And that's why I think he got rid of Aubameyang, because I think he needed to get rid of Aubameyang and Lacazette to get that drama out. He's saying, look, we're not about the social media life. We don't want to be having videos in our dressing rooms of us dancing after games. We want to be focused. We want to be winning. Obviously, the winning hasn't come yet, but it'll come. But disprove what I've just said, because that's what I'll say to you is if you think I'm wrong, disprove it.
And Sulz, I wallahi, brother, I really, really respect the enthusiasm and the love that you have for anything that's going on at this club. Wallahi, brother, I'm genuinely serious right now. But I would rather have 11 Dennis Rodmans in my team and win a league than have 11 nice guys who don't get in the news than
All right,
you know,
then
and not doing
United.
anything.
Okay, so you want United?
But
then, because
I am
they're
that guy.
always in the news.
But so just to give you background and a little bit context, I am Turkish. My family are all Galatasaray fans, and if you know Galatasaray, you know the culture, you know what I'm saying. I've grown up with these people, so the way I look at a club is the club over any person. So even if it's Arteta, even if it's all the nice guys, if I don't win a trophy, khalas, go away. It's just that simple. And for me, like I said, if you know basketball, you know Dennis Rodman. That guy would go out in Las Vegas. 2 days or 1 day later, he would go and get 20 rebounds for the Chicago Bulls. You know what I'm saying? I want those kinds of, I wouldn't mind if my player is an a-hole. Basically, I would not mind that, because Aubameyang won us a trophy at the end of the day
you
as
would
well.
though. You would though, like, because Aubameyang was getting to that point. Lacazette was getting to that point as well. Guendouzi, would you keep him at the club with all of the antics he's had going on? Like they do.
But Guendouzi is a shit player. That's the difference. He's a shit player. I'm talking about the good players who are
Okay,
assholes.
so if Saka now started drinking and all of this sort of stuff, would you take him?
I'm sorry, who?
Like if Saka started doing all this.
You know, okay, but I don't think Saka is that type of person who would do that.
Well, let's just say
if he bags a 30 GA, 35 GA season and we win the league and he goes out drinking and gets in the news, I wouldn't mind that, bro.
Johan Cruyff was scoring winners while smoking cigarettes. The Liverpool team in the late 70s, the Liverpool team in the late 70s, early 80s used to smoke and drink and dominate Europe and England.
Yeah,
you want to talk about new era? No problem. Berbatov, one of the best strikers we have seen, infamous smoker of cigarettes. Andrea Pirlo, one of the best midfielders we have seen, he smokes. And it's been mentioned by multiple different narrators who were his teammates. There are so many examples. I don't care if Salah smokes shisha, double apple before the game, but he wins us the game. Wallahi, I don't care. Who cares? I don't care about this whole nice culture stuff. I don't think this matters, to be honest with you, at all. And when it comes to your Rashford conversation, Rashford
can, United then, because the culture.
Yeah, but Rashford can. No, but that's the reason why they suck at United is poor recruitment, poor managers. It's not because one of them smokes or drinks. They
all pretty much do that, but yeah.
But that's not the point. Like, I'm looking at them.
Your culture is to cultivate a good culture.
Yeah, but
yes. But I don't think culture wins over winning. Winning is...
No, of course, but that's part of it, though, because if your culture doesn't promote that...
Yeah, but if Saka smokes cigarettes and you win the league, would you care?
But we wouldn't win the league if you're smoking cigarettes, because he wouldn't have the lungs to be able to do what he's doing.
Yeah, but Andrea Pirlo was a smoker and he played
an engine, though. You wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say his best ability was his engine. Saka's got a good engine on him as well, because he has to go up and down. He has to defend and he has to attack.
Okay, let's say Saliba then, or Raya smokes cigarettes and you won the league. Would you care?
Oh, Raya's a different story.
Saliba, if he wins me the league, he can go out on the bench. He can roll a spliff right there for me, bro. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind, bro. Go ahead. If you win me trophies, khalas. It's that simple.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Listen, I hear your perspective, but I think that's I'm genuine when I say this, Sulz. I really respect your opinion because I can see where you're coming from. Me personally, with the background and my culture and the way I look at football, I just cannot agree because I have a whole different.
I think you guys underestimate Premier League football at this level right now. You're talking about players who played in an era where football was slower. The amount of pressing you have to do is insane. To be a smoker, you're not surviving.
I think we're talking about two different things now. We're talking about lifestyle and...
Yeah, you're talking about lifestyle versus
Yeah, I think we're more... I think we skipped. We went down the lifestyle road instead of...
If your manager is sitting there telling you have to press for 90 minutes, you're not going to smoke. You're not surviving that.
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah,
but it all comes hand in hand. You can't sit there and go like, of course it's going to affect your on-pitch performances. Because Saka's not running up and down being a smoker. Let's be real.
I also think he's not putting these performances because Arteta told him to get married and settle down either.
I'm talking. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration. But I'm talking about as a whole. No, that was more exaggerated. I've said it. If you listen to the whole thing, right? I said what I'm saying is cultivating a focus, right, culture.
He gave it like a Hollywood twist, basically.
Yeah,
That's what he-
basically, innit?
Yeah.
You have to
White picket
subscribe it.
fences,
Fair enough, fair
the
enough.
golden
Like a
Labrador,
story
yeah,
time. Let's
2.4
go.
kids. Yeah.
Let's go. Guys, if
Unbelievable.
after all this Dr. Phil conversation, we haven't hit 300 likes, you guys are a
Dr.
bunch of
Sulz.
frauds. I swear. Hit the like button right now. Because this stuff that I'm hearing is absolutely legendary, to be honest with you. So hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hey, which one
Big
was
up
more
to Jack
crazy?
House.
Well,
Arsenal fans are a scientific experiment. No, that's wrong. Social experiment because
Yeah,
the
social, not
culture
scientific.
and the marriage.
It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. Okay, it's just
Just
a
a
prank.
prank.
Just move on.
Arteta, marriage is half of your deen. Imagine just Sheikh Arteta out here with a
Hey, hey.
Oh, Sheikh Mikel, man. Sheikh Mikel.
No.
Hey, complete half your deen, Havertz. Havertz, like, what the hell is deen, mate? Hey, this is an Islamic joke right there. Let's go. Big up to you, Red Gorilla. Thank you for the super chat. Arteta invites himself to Arsenal player weddings. Hey, big up. It's the culture.
Hey, listen, he used to, yeah. Well, what's officiator? Yeah, that's it.
And Havertz felt so much love. He felt so much love at Arsenal that he went down and he proposed.
Hey, listen, he did miss the baby making, and he didn't miss the whole. So
Yeah, he was there coaching Havertz. Go left, go left. Make sure you clear the space.
Yeah, make sure you press. Press hard.
Yeah,
Press hard. You gotta press hard.
I cannot do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore, mate. This is actually fucking mental. But I love it. I love it. Listen, I love this.
it's all about the Ventus coming after it. This is the fucking standards. Come on,
Yeah, exactly.
This is the standards, guys. This
the
is
light bulb. Okay.
Yeah, fact. Yo, this has been an elite stream. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
the academy's going to be full, isn't it? The academy looks like it's set for the next 20 years.
Hell
Not
yeah.
the
The
last couple of
academy's
years
gonna
all
have
popping
kids
along.
of the academy, innit?
Hey,
Kids are gonna have kids.
So,
I just want to say one last thing about Arsenal before we move on to Chelsea because I know you want to talk.
There's
about
no
Chelsea.
move on, Habib. I'm ending stream.
Oh, you're
خلاص.
ending? Okay, my bad. Miles Lewis Skelly, this guy, bro. This guy, I feel like this guy has cemented his place in this team so well that if Calafiori is missing games, he is our main left back. You know what I'm saying? This guy even has the potential to get past Calafiori. But the reason why I say he won't get past Calafiori right now is because we paid 40 million for the guy. Let's just play him at least first. You know what I'm saying? But Miles Lewis Skelly, this guy just turned 18 as well a few months ago. So I have nothing but praise for the guy. I feel like he cemented himself in this team better in the last times than Nwaneri even though Nwaneri has someone like Odegaard in front of him. I feel like Nwaneri has cemented his place in this team really, really well. And if he keeps up this form, we found our left back for the future.
I think it's not an easier position. I think it's a more less chaotic position for him to establish himself in than say Nwaneri. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's obvious that Arteta's always going to play Odegaard no matter what, unless he's injured or suspended or something like that. But Lewis Skelly, left back thing's been open. Zinchenko's a dud. Calafiori's injured all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I think I think you need that especially if you're going to play like Timber at right back. He's not really going to offer you much attacking wise. You need like Skelly with the width, especially if you go to the three at the back or inverse.
It only works if Gabriel's fit though. Because if Gabriel's not there and it's Kiwior, then there's not enough cover. But the thing on Ethan, right? The issue with Ethan is he has been given opportunities to start. And don't get it twisted. When Odegaard got injured, I was advocating for him to start those games instead of like a Kai Havertz. But when we have seen him start, you can start to see a little bit of the deficiencies that he's got. That doesn't mean he's not going to become a top player.
Yeah.
But you're seeing that he can't physically cope. Whereas in MLS is coping so well with the physicality. The way he moves, the way he glides with the ball is just immense. I've not seen
just
that.
like Timber. Timber 2.0
honestly.
in my opinion. Yeah.
But he needs that assurity from Gabriel Magalhaes. Otherwise, I feel like that's when I'm not going to say we'll turn on him because he's a young player, but that's when we'll start to say, oh, actually, we want to see Calafiori or something like that come in.
Yeah, I hear it.
Man said something in the way you move. Anyway, big up to all of you guys. This was a Very interesting stream, to say the least. I enjoyed doing this. Make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel if you're yet to do so. Every single one of you guys, please like the video and subscribe. This was an incredible stream, man. Let's go. Casually FC is in the description. Go subscribe. TKA's channel is in the description. Go subscribe. Gunnar Sulz is in the description. Go subscribe. Go subscribe to Martin and Nobbins' channels. They're both in the description as well. This stream is going to take over to Casually FC. Marshall is a fraud, so we're going to raid him. You get me? Hussam raid in the chat. Nothing crazy today. I'm going to be back tomorrow, inshallah, for Everton, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, and El Ahwa. We have a stack.
Is Hamza on that one? Tell me Hamza's on that one. Tell me you booked him early for that one.
He is.
Oh.
Love you all. See you guys later, man.